Welcome back to my channel for the human design transit that's coming up this week. So tomorrow on August 17th, the sun is going to move into the gate 29 and the earth is going to move into the gate 30. I always recommend that you have a copy of your own chart so that you can locate the gates that we're talking about on your chart, and you can see whether or not you already have these gates defined or whether they're open, in which case you will feel these energies stronger if they're white on your chart than if they're colored in, and also if they're going to create any other definition for you. So it can be really beneficial for you to be able to take a look at your own chart. Now let's just locate these for a moment so you have an idea of where they are on your chart. The gate 29 is on the sacral center, you'll see here, and the gate 30 is on the emotional solar plexus. So these are both engines in the chart. So these are both powerful gates. So the sacral is the most powerful engine in the chart. If you have a colored in on yours, that means you're either a generator or a manifesting generator. And the emotional solar plexus is where the 30 is located. And this is emotional energy. And it's the power of emotions. It's not so much the feelings that we have that are always coming and going. It's much more about the power of emotional energy, which I'm sure that you've experienced many times in your life. So when you take these two together, you know we're going to have a powerful transit. They're also both in the sensing circuit, and the sensing circuit comes in through the right brain, moves over down through the left-hand side of the body, and then comes up through the central channel. And so this is energy that is abstract, it's spatial, it's creative, it's spiritual in the sense that it is connected to everything, connected to the all that is, whereas the left brain is much more focal. So this is energy that really helps us to expand into a greater sense of our connection with each other, with the natural world around us, and even with the cosmos. In the sensing circuit, we learn through experience. It's a very embodied energy. It's what we feel through our senses, and it's very embodied. So it's something where we learn through experience. So that's just an orientation to where these two gates are located, both in terms of the centers and in terms of the circuit that they are a part of. The gate 29, which is here on the sacral center, is known in traditional human design as the gate of perseverance, and in quantum human design as the gate of devotion. I personally really like devotion more than perseverance. Perseverance kind of feels like something that you're doing in the face of adversity, right? You're gonna persevere even when life is really hard, or when you're facing a challenge, or when things are really rough in your life. Whereas devotion has a much more spiritual quality to it. It's what are we devoting ourselves to? What are we giving our life force energy to? What are we focusing our attention on? And I find that really inspiring. Whereas perseverance feels much more like survival, right? We are persevering so that we can survive. Thinking about the three different aspects of this energy. So there's an awakened aspect, there's a shadow aspect, and there's a disempowered aspect. The way that I talk about these three different aspects of the archetypes is the shadow aspect is where you're feeling the power of the energy, but you're using it to control or manipulate. Very often this is stemming from a sense of fear deep in the subconscious, and then that fear is stimulating you to want to control things, control other people, control yourself, control events or your environment, and to manipulate things so that you can feel powerful in response to that subconscious fear. The disempowered aspect is when you don't feel the power of whatever that archetype is. So if we look at devotion, this might be when you're really in perseverance and you're feeling like you're at the mercy of the world around you and you're not feeling empowered in your own life. It might lead you to give your power away to a guru or some other kind of expert because you don't feel that you have power inside of you. The shadow aspect might be that you are devoting yourself to profits, for example, without any concern for the environment or for other people. Or you might be devoting yourself to your own power and just gathering your own power without any concern for how that affects other people. Whereas the awakened aspect would be when you're devoting yourself to what matters most. That might be devotion to your family. It might be devotion to people in your life, to your community. It might be devotion to our ecosystems. It might be devotion to causes or to organizations that you're a part of. Just knowing that it is something that you're doing with a sense of coming from your heart, and that it is drawing on this kind of spiritual aspect of being connected to everything. I can say from my own life, I, for example, am devoted to my child, my 20-something non-binary child. I'm also devoted at this point to my Kundalini yoga practice, because I know that that's what makes me be able to do the work that I do in the world. And I'm also devoted to my work in the world. And I'm also devoted to making videos and to doing my work in the world, because I am in my wisdom years and I want to be able to give out the wisdom that I have developed over 6 decades of life, to have the golden nuggets that I have earned over those years be of value and of benefit to others. I'm also very devoted to my friends, and I am devoted to my work being able to contribute to the healing of humanity and the healing of our planet. So the question I would pose for you is, what are you devoted to? And are you purposely and consciously devoted to it? Is it coming in an awakened state? Is it coming in a shadow state that you might not be aware of? Because a lot of times it's subconscious, you don't even know it. Or from a disempowered place. Because as the sun is transiting the 29, you will have the opportunity, if you feel you might have been more in a disempowered aspect or more of a shadow aspect, to shift your energy around that, whether you have that defined in your chart or whether it's open in your chart, that is colored in, or whether it's white in your chart. I know for me, the 29 is not defined in my chart, so I'm going to have an opportunity to really work with my energy of devotion during this time. At the same time, the earth is going to move into the gate 30, which is on the emotional solar plexus, so it's an emotional energy. And it's a very, very, very powerful energy. It's one of the most powerful gates, if not the most powerful gate, other than the 34 in the chart. And it's powerful for a different reason than the 34. In the I Ching, which is the base of all the gates in the human design chart, is the I Ching. In the I Ching, it's called clinging fire. In traditional human design, it's known as desire. And in quantum human design, it's known as passion. I think of it as intensity, right? It's just super fiery, intense energy. And it's emotional, fiery, intense energy. So this is one of those energies that you want to be able to grab a hold of and harness so that you can direct it where you want it to go. Because if you don't, it's one of those energies that can grab a hold of you and run you over and direct you to potentially engage in things or to act in ways that you don't really want to and you don't really agree with. To add on to this, Jupiter has been already transiting the gate 30 and will be continuing for another month to transit the gate 30. Now, Jupiter is our blessings. And so if we can lean into that piece of the blessing of this energy, the blessing of our desire, the blessing of our passion, and our blessing of our intensity. I'm a very intense person, and I've really had to learn how to harness and direct that intensity in my life so that it doesn't burn me up. But you can, and when you do, it can be incredibly beneficial for you. So my question for you this week is, what are you passionate about? What is your desire? Because this is when you do harness it, it can be the energy to sustain you over a long period of time, to be able to bring your desires, your visions, your dreams into physical reality. So you want it to be like a slow burn, right? A long, slow burn, not a fast, fiery, flamey, burning kind of burn, if that makes sense. So when you take your passion, really feel into that. What are you most passionate about in life? What are you, and do you see how this plays off of devotion? It's really great because the passion is the fire, right? It's the emotional energy. Whereas the devotion is sacral energy, which is also very powerful, but it's life force energy. It has a different quality. But bringing these two together, when you really utilize them and direct them the way that you want to, you can have a huge change in your life in just the 6 days that that the sun and the earth are transiting these two gates. So what are you passionate about? What do you have desire for? Are there things that you have been passionate about, but you've kind of lost your passion? Whether that's another person, or whether that is work that you've done before, or whether it's something that you have loved to engage in. I don't like the word hobby, but you know what I mean? Something that you've done that isn't something you do for money, but something that you have loved in your life that maybe you've lost touch with because we've been in COVID, or maybe you lost touch with because other priorities came in and you weren't able to stay focused on it. This is a great time to kind of refuel yourself, reignite your passion for what it is that you want to be engaging in your life. And then you can devote yourself to that. You can think about what is going to be the sustainable way that you're going to be able to focus on and bring whatever it is that you're passionate about or that you desire into form. I know for me, feminine sovereignty is a huge passion of mine. Sovereignty is something that I have taught about for over 20 years, and I have been writing about feminine sovereignty and creating programs about it for a few years now. I'm writing a book about it, and so I have a passion for that. So I'm going to be dipping into that. Now, my Chiron is in the gate 30. But Chiron is a special planet. It's a little dwarf planet that does not create definition in the chart. So it's not technically defined in my chart. But wherever your Chiron is it creates a major theme in your life, especially after about age 50 when you have your Chiron return. So this matter of intensity and passion and desire has been a big theme for me, especially since I turned 50. And so for me, having it defined by the earth is going to give me a little extra boost to get in touch with that energy. And it's going to help me ground it down into my life. And it's a little bit of an paradox, right? Or an oxymoron where you have this fiery, clinging fire energy, and we're going to bring it down into the ground. But you could think of it as the molten lava that is underneath the earth, right? You could think of it as what creates volcanoes and what has created mountains in the past, right? It's a very potent energy when we put these two fundamental elements together of fire and earth. And that's really what we're going to get here. And remember, at the same time, these are in the sensing circuit. So this is not logical, rational, linear, strategic, analytical. It's none of those things. It's spatial, it's abstract, it's creative, it's imagination, it's sensual and sensing, it's embodied and creating and living through experience. So tapping into those qualities for yourself. And if your logical mind starts to come in and starts to jabber the way that it can, just, say thank you for sharing and let it go, because you have the opportunity to really grab a hold of these two powerful energies over the course of this week. This transit is going to last through next Monday, and I'll have a new transit report for you next Monday. If you like the video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. Tell your friends about it. I would so appreciate that. That helps me to continue to provide this valuable free content. Many blessings, much love. Bye for now.